Hey everyone, and welcome to the Criterion Connection. I'm Wade,
I'm Scott.
and we're here to do Wes Anderson film.
It's Wes Anderson month, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wes.
Uh,
West Side.
so this is the first time you've done a Wes Anderson film on this Criterion.
This is the first time I've ever done a Wes Anderson movie. Period.
Have you ever watched a Wes Anderson film?
No, I just said it was the first time I ever did. Period.
Oh, I thought it meant like as a review. Okay.
No.
So-
Wes Anderson movies on the surface do not speak to me. They do not one time have I seen anything involving Wes Anderson that I thought might want to check that out.
Well, we're doing Royal Tenenbaums from 2001. It's directed by Wes Anderson, written by Wes Anderson, and also Owen Wilson.
I was gonna say, doesn't he usually write his own stuff?
Yes. But I had Owen Wilson to it.
Yeah,
Because
but then again,
Owen Wilson co-wrote this one.
Co-wrote, yes, but only Wes Anderson could write this kind of stuff, for better or for worse.
Now me and Joe personally have done, we've done Life Aquatic last week. We did.
You did Isle of Dogs, right?
No, we have not. We did Bottle Rocket. We've done Moonrise Kingdom and Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Fantastic Mr. Fox. That's it.
So this one is probably my least favorite Wes Anderson film. It's
Well, this is both my least and most favorite
Okay.
Wes Anderson movie I've ever seen.
okay. So it's very dry. It's very dry.
It's very dry.
I need some water because it's so dry.
The quirk was strong with this one. So much so, it's kind of like, how do I put this? It's kind of like I heard someone describing in wrestling, they say, if you have a company that has all giants, you don't have giants. In this case, if you have a movie that's all quirk, you don't have quirk anymore. And I think that's one of the problems, because there were certain things that I think he wanted to stand out that for me didn't stand out, because how am I supposed to think that's weird when I'm watching this movie? Like, I remember I told you, I was like, oh, apparently this movie takes place in the 70s. So I'm like, oh, I guess nobody has beard trimmers or electric trimmers or something. So, because he's doing the whole haircut with scissors or whatever. And then I see on the tombstone later on, spoiler alert, 2001. And I'm like, where were these places in 2001? Like, has Wes Anderson ever...
Harlem, apparently.
Has Wes Anderson ever been in public? Like, seriously, does he know what normal people are like?
Anyway, it's kind of like...
I guess the answer is no.
Which is funny, because it made you think this is from the 70s. It's kind of like... You love the Brady Bunch movie.
I do like the Brady
where
Bunch movie.
It's basically, it's got... But they're 70s. But the joke is, they're the ones that are stuck in the 60s.
Right, you have a contrast to play off of, whereas this one, there's no real contrast to play off because everybody's the same, really.
I think what appeals to a lot of Wes Anderson film fans is he kind of creates a pocket world. Where, Life Aquatics, it's this little pocket little world. Bottle Rocket, not so much. Moonrise Kingdom kind of has it too. Like, just kind of feel like it's the Earth.
Right.
It's the world, but it's its own, kind of an alternative reality kind of feel.
And I can get behind that if it was, interesting. But this movie, it wasn't a very interesting way to go about it. Like, even though I've never seen it, the idea of Life Aquatic sounds interesting to me. What little bit I know about Bottle Rocket sounds interesting to me. Like, some of the other movies he's done do sound more interesting, but this one, it's just... There's nothing. It's just, hey, these people wear weird outfits, or these people act weird. Blah,
There's a little more to that. It's kind of about Gene Hackman.
He's the best. He's the best part of this whole movie.
He's trying to basically... He's estranged from his family. A lot of it's his choice. And he tries to kind of bring the family back together. And that's the plot of the movie.
Well, to a point. And then it's about... Then it starts with that, and then it kind of goes into then it starts to focus more about the relationship between Margot and the brother with the headband. Richie, thank you. Then it starts to focus more on them.
Oh, it's not just that. Margot is also... There's the stuff of Raleigh, played by Bill Murray. There's also Eli, Owen Wilson.
Right.
There's a whole... It's more of that subplot than there is for Royal and Ethel and Harry, who is played by Danny Glover and is the love interest for Ethel.
Right.
Stuff like that.
And what bothered me was, I think the focus of this movie is wrong. To me, the story that I was more interested in that did not really do anything until the end was the relationship between Royal and
Chaz.
Mm-hmm. That was the relationship that I was more curious about, because that one had there was a conflict there. There was more to it with Chaz because his wife died, and it was like
and also about like he's overprotective and
Yeah.
stuff. And Royalty's like, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, he sees a lot of how he
Yes.
raised them in Chaz, and he wants to kind of help them. And it's just like, I wish we could have got more of that story than like everybody else.
I think what you would prefer is if the royal story was plot A and Margot was plot B, but it was two plot A's going at the same time,
right? Or Margot no plot at all. I didn't really think her character was
I think
necessary.
that she's like a linchpin for like, you get the Eli character, you get the Richie character, you get the Raleigh and Dudley. I think the kid's name was Dudley, right? Dudley's
Yes.
World, yes, Dudley's.
I don't even know what that was between him and Bill Murray. I did not understand that.
I don't know that one either.
All.
But I think the stuff that happens with Gene Hackman, the royal storyline,
Right.
and his resolution near the end,
right.
that is the strongest part of the movie. That's, to me, what would probably bring me back to the movie is that. Also, I really enjoyed Ben Stiller as Chaz and his kids. Was it Ari and Uzi?
Ari and Uzi. I like the relationship they had with Royal, because it kind of felt like the kind of relationship that you would have with your grandfather.
And also,
up,
Ari and
like,
Uzi.
I saw a little bit of myself in that.
And also,
in that
Ari
album.
and Uzi are not tainted.
No,
they're not. They had not been screwed over by their grandfather, Pappy.
And not just that, but I mean, they're kids,
Yes.
and they're like a lot of kids, they're more open, they're more willing to give people a chance. They, because they probably, in fact, their dad probably doesn't tell them all that much anyway, so he has no idea. They have no idea really what to feel anyway.
Except to wear a tracksuit.
Exactly, they have to wear a tracksuit and get a perm.
There's a few things I chuckled at. Probably three things. It didn't make me. It's a movie that I know some people probably love this movie. Think it's the funniest movie. I didn't really think it was that funny. I think.
Tell us in the comments why you think it's funny, and say things other than it's supposed to be this way, or give me help me understand, and don't just be like snooty.
Like Life Aquatic, I thought that was funnier. I thought Bottle Rocket's funnier. There's movies I think are funnier that he's done. I've seen Rushmore before. I think Rushmore is funnier. It's I think that this movie, that there's the part where when Chaz is chasing Eli at the wedding, that's great. I think that's great. There's not enough of that. When Raleigh finds out about Margot's secret life, his wife's secret life, and he's like, she smokes. And that's the least worrisome thing in her whole story is
right,
she smokes.
Because you see all these like exes in her life and all these places she's been to, and and I'm sure in the documents it's like all the trouble she's gotten into, and the only thing he takes away from these many lovers and these many locations, these many things is, oh, she smokes.
There's one line that Harry says the royal that I thought was pretty humorous. He was like, I don't think you're an asshole. I think you're a son of a bitch. Humorous. Little line. But I think the strongest things to me, you didn't like how the look is. I like how frames are shot in this.
No, I did not like it. What I'm saying is
you're talking about the style.
The style of I actually did like the use of color. I did like the pacing of it. Like I said, there were elements I liked about it. What I'm saying is though, is like when you make a world that's like everything is weird and everything's off and everything's quirky, you kind of lose some of that vibe with it when everything is that way.
I think what you're trying to view is you want a black and white world, but like you have that one piece of color
to an extent. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Contrast.
Yeah.
To me, stuff like that works better when you have a contrast, because you have something to play off of each other. You have a sense, and you also have a sense of what's unique to this world, what isn't. You get a better idea of that. Whereas in this one, it's kind of hard to tell. Like when he's like that animal head thing that he's like freaked out about. And I guess I'm supposed to think it's funny because of how stupid it looks and its name and everything. But it's like, how am I supposed to focus on how stupid it is when the one kid is like painting the worst paintings of his sister you've ever seen and hanging them up? Or like,
well, that was one of my favorite touches of like design. It's just like these terrible pictures are framed all over the place.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like certain things just don't stand out like I think they would if they had a little more contrast.
Yeah, like when Chaz puts Royal in the closet that's full of board games.
Yes.
That's fun.
Yes.
But
I did like the idea of after he leaves and he turns it back on and he's like, I guess he found the board game he was looking for.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool framing. Like I like when Margot meets up with Richie for the first time. He's just sitting there, and you have these sailors walking by. It's like purposefully how it's framed and how the camera movements. Great. I think this is one of Wes Anderson's better music films. I mean, you had Paul Simon. You had the beginning with the Pete Beals. Oh God, what song is it? It's driving me crazy.
Hey Jude.
Hey Jude. That's it. Yeah, the ending of Hey Jude, where it's like na 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 na. That part is great. I like how when Margot leaves Raleigh, it's like playing the Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was weird, but I do like how they do, the Ramones. They had,
yeah, I was gonna say they played the Ramones in the Clash, so I had some fun. Gene Hackman was the best part. I think Angelica Houston and Ben Stiller, I think, nailed their respective roles. I thought Danny Glover did good for what his part was.
I think Luke Wilson did good as Richie. I think Richie.
No, they did good, but they were like just fine characters. I think they didn't really do anything. There wasn't anything about them that really stood out with me until Richie tries to kill himself.
Yeah, I think Richie...
that was the moment where Richie stood out to me as a character.
Yeah.
But it was like by that point it's like we're almost done.
And Eli is like kind of like the crazy character.
Yeah. And it's just like I don't know, it was just
Which is funny because he starts off kind of he does start off in a closet in his underwear. Right. But he starts off kind of normal, and then you realize, oh, he has problems.
Yeah, it's. I think for me, it was like the conflicts in the movie don't really it's not just that they don't resolve themselves, they just kind of get acknowledged, they kind of go away for something else, and then they come back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for me, it's like that's for me as a movie watcher, that's not good enough for me.
Yeah. So Scott.
Yes.
Would you recommend this film to the general audience?
No, I would not recommend this film to the general audience. Here's where I'm coming from on this. I feel like this is a Wes Anderson movie for Wes Anderson people. And if you're a Wes Anderson person, you've already seen it. And if you're curious about Wes Anderson, most people are probably going to tell you to go to this movie or Bottle Rockets. Visually, it's a visually somewhat interesting movie, depending on your taste. So, I mean, if that's something that appeals to you, but again, that's not something the mass audience, I think, thinks about.
Yeah.
And even though I've never seen a movie, I've seen enough, images and trailers and stuff of Wes Anderson movies where I'm kind of desensitized by it. So it doesn't really stand out to me all that much.
I probably also would not recommend it for general audience. I didn't hate the film. I think the movie it's not my favorite Wes Anderson film, but I think it's fine.
Yeah, I didn't hate it either. Like I said,
it ain't the worst movie you've ever seen, but it's perfectly. I don't regret watching.
There's a couple good performances. It's not bad to look at. It's paced well. Yeah. No scene.
It didn't feel like 2 hours.
No scene outlives its welcome.
Yes.
It's like it's
there.
It's okay. I don't regret watching it.
So that's our thoughts on Roll. Tenenbaums, let us know in the comment section below how wrong we are and how much we have no taste. Like, subscribe, share this video, follow us on Instagram, Condish Productions, and next week Joe's coming back and we're gonna do Rushmore. So if you're a big Jason Schwartzman fan,
like Wes Anderson is,
you should check out next week. So until next time, I'm Wade.
I'm Scott,
and we'll see you later.